Ladies, gentlemen, everybody, welcome to Monday Night Nerd, and it is the 1 year episode. I can't believe it has been 1 year of me on this platform doing whatever the heck you want to call this. I'm still in shock that it's been the 1 year, but thank you all for joining me. If this is your first episode, if this is your 50th episode, I don't know. Thank you. If this is your first episode, my name is Myers Corp Cosplay. I've been a cosplayer for 10 years. I've been going to conventions for 10 years. I've been a nerd since birth, and this is my show. We just kind of come on here once a week on Monday nights and talk about nerdy stuff. Talk about, what's going on in the nerd culture right now. And then we usually have a topic about, whether it's wrestling, comics, cosplay, movies, music, tons of stuff. That's why we're here. Thank you so much for joining. I am so happy to be here. We're going to talk all about the show tonight. We're going to talk about why I've started it, what I've been doing for a year, what's going to be changing next year, or this year, I guess. A whole bunch of stuff. So make sure to stick around for that. But first, we always have a little bit of news, and that news is a bunch of reviews. If you didn't know, I've been sick for the past couple weeks. I've been sick for about a week and a half. I missed last week, unfortunately. I was really under the weather. I was actually supposed to be on the Geeks & Co. Geek Boutique show that week as well, but I was just way too under the weather. It wasn't COVID. It wasn't flu. It was just a really, really bad cold. My wife caught it. I then caught it, and we've been out ever since. It has been a long week and a half, 2 weeks, but I'm back on the mend. I'm feeling much better tonight. So is my wife. So it's good to be in good health. You forget how important that is until you go down. You really feel like all of a sudden it just hits a wall and you just feel like you can't do anything. So make sure to keep your health in check, folks. I know I know everybody hears it. I know everyone's probably heard it a billion times, but it's really true. It really is, because as soon as you fall, man, it's hard to get back up until you feel 100%. So now that that's out of the way, let's talk about some news, because, man, I've done some stuff over the past 2 weeks that I want to talk about. One of the main things I want to talk about is a couple reviews, because I watched some movies while I had my time off. One of the ones that I have been looking forward to for a very long time was an anime movie that I saw a trailer for way back a while ago. And I keep saying I'm going to watch it. I was going to watch it. But I'm at that age now. I love animated movies. I've always been an animated movie fan. But it's not priority watching anymore. I watched Migration, which was such a good movie. I really enjoyed this movie. If you haven't seen the trailer, it's all about a group of ducks, a family of ducks that go out and they migrate for the first time. They've never left their pond, and all the crazy things that happen on their adventures. And I really liked the trailer. I thought it was a really cool concept, a really cool idea. But sitting down and actually watching, the animation is so good in this movie. It's very Looney Tunes. It's very over the top and what's called stretchy animation, where things stretch. If you pause it, it's a really odd look. But it was really good animation. The jokes were really good. It wasn't like a memorable, like I'm going to repeat these all the time, like Emperor's New Groove or something like that. But it was just a good, solid animated movie. It was about an hour and a half. It didn't overstay its welcome like a lot of movies do now. It's one of the things. I got some friends that want to go see Dune 2 this week, and I'm like, dude, I haven't seen Dune 1 because I know I got to be in the right mood to watch it, because that's a 3-hour marathon for me. It's just too much. So Migration, very good animated movie. If you got kids, take them to go see it. I think it's coming out on streaming soon. Really, really good time. Really fun, quick, fun. Everyone will have a blast. Review number 2. For those who don't know, I am a giant wrestling fan. I've been a giant wrestling fan since 1997 when I first fell in love with wrestling. I know way more than I probably should about wrestling. I listen to podcasts. I know the history of wrestling. I am an encyclopedia of wrestling. When I heard that they were going to do a movie called The Iron Claw about the Von Erich family, I got to admit I was a little concerned, because I saw that Zac Efron was going to be in it, which I like Zac Efron as an actor, but You get some of those mainstream stars in it. It's kind of, it's okay. Like Mickey Rourke and The Wrestler. I personally love it, but I see so many holes in it. And especially if this was based on the life and sadly passing of a lot of the Von Erich family. I was really worried how they were going to do this. But man, it was such a good movie. I knew before I even started the movie, I told my wife, I said, I'm probably going to cry during this. I'm a crier during movies, I'll fully admit. But I knew this was going to be one of them because I knew I knew exactly how everything was going to go, but I didn't know how they were going to shoot it. It was great. Zac Efron as Kevin Von Erich was beautiful. Knowing what was going to happen was so sad because you just saw everything lead up to it, and you're wanting to yell at the screen, stop, go in a different direction, but you just couldn't. But it was a beautiful movie. They did a great job in it. I know hardcore wrestling fans have problems, especially people who knew the Von Erichs, because it's based off the story. It's not a documentary. It's not shot for shot what actually happened. There are some things that were modified a bit to make it entertaining. So I will take that with a grain of salt, though. That comes with any movie like this. But such a good movie, such a great interpretation of the story. Like one of the few times where you see a group of actors acting as brothers and you actually believe they are brothers. You see them interact and have dialogue and bounce off each other just like brothers would, just like a family would. It's rare to get that type of performance, and they all killed it. I loved every second of it. And yes, the ending I bawled over, and it was a beautiful ending. If you're a wrestling fan, go see it. Even if you're not a wrestling fan, watch the movie. There is enough human elements in this that I would not say if you have to be a wrestling fan. You don't even have to know the background. You need to get an understanding of brotherly love. And once you have if you're a brother, you will totally understand this movie. If you have a family member, blood brother, non-blood brother, and you have that relationship, this one is a movie for you. I highly recommend it. Go watch it. It's on some streaming services now. Check it out. That's it for movies right now. Like I said, I know I have to watch Dune. I'm probably going to watch it this weekend, but that's another story. Video game wise, I finally finished Mario RPG. Such a loving game. I played this game so many times growing up. This was one of those first games that I rented multiple times from Blockbuster, and unfortunately was never able to get the save file again. So I had to keep starting over and over and over again. I never got to finish it. This is my first time finishing Mario RPG, and it was an absolute blast to finally finish it. The upgrade in the fight system is amazing. The upgraded soundtrack is amazing. The jokes are picture perfect. If you've never played Mario RPG, this is the game that spawned the Paper Mario series. So if you love Paper Mario, this was the game that got Nintendo into that RPG mindset. They really wanted to keep going with this, but because they developed it with Square Enix, who does the Final Fantasy series, they wanted to go more disc-based. Nintendo wanted to stick with cartridges back in the day when they went to the N64. So they had to split their partnership, and they couldn't go forward with the RPG series. So they ended up doing the Paper Mario series, and I think they're doing pretty good right now with that series. But it was a great game. I had a very good idea of what was going to happen, seeing as I played it so many times growing up. But it was great. I loved every minute of it, and I will probably run through it again at some point. Last review of the night. This is interesting. So I went to see the Empire Strips Back Star Wars burlesque show in Toronto. I saw it with my wife and my mother-in-law, which is interesting. We were trying to figure out something to do before my mother-in-law had to leave, and my wife had wanted to see it, and I wanted to see it as well. We'd had some friends that had seen the show earlier, and they said it was amazing. So we decided to go see it, and it was it was pretty funny. As Caitlin says, funny you saw with your mother-in-law. Yeah, so I don't think my mother-in-law really realized what it was. I think she heard the word burlesque, but didn't really understand exactly what it was. Um, but it was a fabulous show. Obviously, if you're a Star Wars fan, you'll enjoy it a little bit more because you'll understand the jokes, you'll understand the characters. But really, it was a very good show. I think my mother-in-law made a good point of it's not extremely professional. Like there is a little bit of an amateur style to it, but I really did enjoy it. I really enjoy that sort of, you know, student theater is not the term, but sort of that amateur production feel. I really do like seeing the wrinkles of a show. I feel like if it's too produced and too smoothed out, it's not as fun. But it was really fun. My wife in chat says she thought it was like girls doing the can. It was a little more than can. It was a really really fun show. Obviously, you've got all of the Star Wars characters presented in the show. One of the best was one of the gentlemen coming out of Carbonate and doing Smooth Criminal, which was so fun with Greedo and Leia in her not her Raider outfit, but the Jedi outfit. That was great. They had obviously someone dressed as Emperor Palpatine who was not fully dressed, doing Wrecking Ball and swinging on a disco version of the Death Star. But overall, it was a great night. It was a great soundtrack. Like I will fully admit, I was thinking it was going to be a lot of WAP and a lot of stuff like that. But there was actually some really good songs. There's some really good choices. Even the music in between the show during the intermission was actually very good. Was walking out of there and I was like, they're playing Digital Underground, which no one plays Digital Underground. Kaylin says, from a technical standpoint, that amazing sets, props, amazing costumes. Yeah. Fantastic song choice. Yeah. Great lighting too. Yeah. You know what? It was actually. And even there, I was saying in the pre-show, it's at the Royal in Toronto, which we had actually seen another production there. And it's one of those places where there's not a bad seat in the house. And it's a very small theater. It's very compact, which is great. We were discussing on the way home that I feel if we went to a bigger venue, it would kind of take away from it. I feel like there'd be a little more space and a little more air. I like having that tightness and having everyone together enjoying it. So a really good show. I think they're only around for a couple more weeks. We're definitely going to be going back at some point to see it again because we had such a fun time. But yeah, overall, go see it. If you're in the Toronto area, check it out. They do a really, really good show. Really funny too. The host is a guy dressed up as Lando Calrissian, and he's really, really funny. I can't do half the jokes, but it was really funny. He did a really good job. He's a really good MC. I feel like if you had a really amateur MC, it would kind of fall flat, but he kept the pace going. He kept everybody engaged, which made the show flow a lot better. So bravo to them. I can't wait to see them again. It was a lot of fun. Last on the news, before we jump into the sponsor and the main event, the push-up challenge. So, yes, as Caitlin says, not Lando, Lando's cousin, George. Yes, his name is George Calrissian. The push-up challenge. As you may remember, at the beginning of the month, I said I was going to be doing the push-up challenge for the month of February. Canadian Mental Health was doing push-up challenge. They wanted everybody to do 2,000 push-ups. They want actually done by like the 21st. But I said, screw it. I'm going to push it all the way to the end. I've been sick for a week and a half to the point where I've slept pretty much for a week and a half. I have not done a push-up in a week and a half. So I am going to do my best for the last couple days to do push-ups. I'm not going to hit 2,000. I highly doubt I'm going to hit 1,000 at this point. I think I'm at 700. It happens. It really does. If you, this weird thing happens. My mom is a former fitness trainer, and with that, I do feel like I have a little bit of that DNA in my system of wanting to stay active. Like I'm not the most athletic guy in the world, but I do try to keep try and eat healthy and stuff like that. Um, and I also find working out, like lifting weights, boring as hell. I do yoga every once in a while. I used to be better with that, but anytime I try to do something like this, like a push-up challenge or rollerblading on a daily basis, trying to keep some type of schedule on staying fit, I always, and I mean always, get sick in some way or another. I don't know why. I don't know if it's I overdo it. I don't think I overdo it. Like I'm not dying every day, but every single time I try to do something like this, I get sick. And sure as shit, it happened again. It was once my wife got sick, she picked it up from, we're pretty sure from the Toronto Rock game. And she was out like Tuesday, and then Wednesday I started to feel it, and I knew I was going downhill fast. So unfortunately, yeah, I haven't done a push-up in about 2 weeks. So I'm going to do a couple tonight, and then I'm going to try to jump back on the proverbial horse as fast as I can, because I know I could easily slip back down and not do anything again. And I want to keep this momentum going. I want to say, yeah, I got sick, but I want to jump back in and get some more activity in my life, because I do need it. I have been feeling a little stiff. So I'm going to try and do that. With the weather being as nice as it is, I might bring out my rollerblades early and do some more rollerblading. So it's it happens. Kaylin, you guys must have channeled through the internet, because don't be sick too. It's honestly, it's going around. It really is. Like I had to go back to work at some point because I didn't want to use all my sick days, but man, did I just want to stay home, because I didn't want anyone else to catch it. And that's the biggest thing. Like it's one thing for me to be sick, but I don't want everyone else to feel like crap too. So hopefully you feel better soon. I hope it doesn't last as long as it did for us, because that was a long time. All right. Let's get to a sponsor, and then we are going to jump into the main event. Sponsor, folks, if you're new here, I have the same sponsor every single week. And even if someone did give me some cash, they would still be second place next to the sponsor. And that sponsor is my wife. Folks, I'm telling you, if it wasn't for my wife, I would not be doing this. I would not be doing it for a year. I would not be doing it for a day. I would not be cosplaying. I would not have the cojones to go on the internet once a week and talk. She has changed my life in ways no one will understand, even if you knew me beforehand. She means everything to me. It really means a lot that I've got someone in my back pocket, kind of give me that nudge of, I got your back. So, hun, I love you. You will always be my sponsor. That is not changing for season 2. Thank you. Love you. Kaylin, I'm getting better, but it's been a week. I'm flying in to an all-inclusive tomorrow. Oh, you're so sappy. Yes, I am. I love my wife. Get used to it. You know I do. All right. Folks, today is the 1 year, well, last week is the 1 year anniversary of me doing this show. Before we do that, if you guys can hit the like button, if you can hit the subscribe button, if you can hit all those things, that would mean so much to me. Thank you all so much for, chatting, doing all these things. It means the world to me. It really does. Throwing those likes in, throwing the subscribes, sharing it with your friends and family. It really does mean a lot to me. It's been a year of this. I've been doing this a year. And the fact that after 2 weeks, I still have people here who actually want to talk and actually want to listen to me go on and on and on for an hour every Monday night, that means a lot. Like it really does, because I just want you guys to have fun, and I want you guys to enjoy yourselves, and to know that I'm a part of that means a lot. It really, really does. I'm just a guy in a room in a house. Like I don't have anything special. This is just me being me. I've been asked a lot about why. Why did I start this podcast? What made me say you should get on the internet once a week? First off, I have a lot of stories. And I have a lot of stories because back in the day, when social media and stuff first started, I didn't think I wanted to do it. Like I've been around the block, and when social media first came out, I was like, who wants to listen to me? Who wants to sit around and listen to me, post photos and talk about stuff. But I was getting so many stories together from volunteering at conventions, going to conventions, wrestling training, just being fans of things, like going to the movies and wanting to talk about what I saw, what comics I was reading, what music I was listening to. And I can't do that all the time. Like I see my friends when I can, but I can't show up to them, and I can't just sit there and be like, all right, you sit for an hour and I'm just going to blab on and tell you all the great things I've done. But I want to talk about these things. And because my fandoms can be wide, like I'm a wrestling fan, I'm a comic fan, I'm a movie fan, I'm a cosplayer, I volunteer at conventions, I'm a hockey fan, I'm, retro stuff. I don't have, like, there's only so many times, like, there's only so many people I can talk to these things with. Like, I have friends that are wrestling fans. I can talk about wrestling stuff. I have friends that are comic book fans that I can talk comic stuff with. I can talk movie stuff with my movie friends. But, like, I can't always talk to them about everything. And I've been an only child, my whole life. I have a sister, but we were never really, really close. And I can only talk to my wife for so long before she's like, okay, stop. So this is why I decided to do these things. I wanted to do a show that I can just talk. And if people watch, great. And if they don't, I get it. But this was just me wanting to talk about things that I really enjoyed. And, I came up with a line a while back that really summarizes, the way I feel about this show and the sort of the mindset behind it. And that is, every trip is a story. And what that means is, I'm the type of person where my life is in this house. I've got all my cosplay stuff behind me. I've got my wife. I've got my dog. I've got my cats. I've got my video games. My life is here. I am perfectly fine living in this house without doing anything else except seeing friends and stuff like that. But when I go out and I do stuff, I get stories that I can do here. And now that I'm doing this podcast, I want to do more things because that gives me things to talk about here. I want to go to the movies. I want to go to conventions. And this also helps with my anxiety. If I have anxiety about going and spending 3 days at a con, I go, yeah, but you're going to have 3 days worth of stories. And they might not be, I met, Ron Perlman walking down the hall every time. But I'm going to have things to talk about. I'm going to, I went to Niagara Falls last year, and I fully admit I was in my car when I arrived, and I was thinking of turning around and coming home. But now I know I have things like this podcast, and I went and had a great time, and I had so many stories, and it's one of my best videos. It's one of the most watched videos that I've done. So that was the impetus of this entire thing. But then also going on Fandom Frontiers podcast, Dave Thorne's podcast, and going on the Geeks and Co for the first time and watching them do it and kind of going like, this is fun. This is fun to talk about these topics. It's probably why I've been on, Geeks and Co 6 times now, because it's I will drop everything to do this type of stuff. I love just talking about geek stuff. And if there's someone on the other end that's talking back, that's great. But if not, I don't mind just talking into the void and hoping that sooner or later someone picks up on it. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But at least I can say I put myself out there and I told these amazing stories. I also think about things like Kevin Smith. You know, I love Kevin Smith. He's one of my favorite celebrity Hollywood people. Um, I grew up watching the evenings with Kevin Smith and listening. I still listen to his podcasts all the time. And his love of geekdom and him wanting to share and talk about things he loves is another probably earworm that got me wanting to do stuff like this. You know, my wife always, we joked about this when I was going to college. She said, you know, what do you want to be? And, or I said, you know, what do you think I should be? And she said, I think you want to be Kevin Smith. And I said, yeah, I'd love to. Unfortunately, I don't have directing chops like him. And I don't have all the fun stories of working with actors. But yeah, like I would love to go on stage every night and just talk about nerd stuff because that's what I love. That's why it's rare that I will come on here and I will just slam a movie or something that I watched because it's not fun for me. There's so much negativity. Like that's why I haven't talked about Madam Web. Like I've had so many people ask me my thoughts on Madam Web, and I'm just like, I don't care because it's not a movie. You know, it's not something positive for me. There's a billion people out there bashing the movie. What am I going to say it's any different? And I haven't even seen the movie yet, so I'm not even going to bash it yet. But yeah, that's kind of why I started this podcast. Now, there's probably people out there asking, why am I doing it live? And there's a plain, easy answer for that. And that is, it takes way too much time to edit videos. I know based off, especially when I wanted to do those movie reviews, when I had the movie chart and I was going to watch all the movies and I was going to do reviews on YouTube for it. Dude, I watched 2 movies and I started doing the video production for them and the reviews, and I couldn't get through it because I just wanted to chop it up and edit it and redo it. And there was probably 20 takes of me doing the opening of, hi, I'm Myers Corp Cosplay, and I just watched Taxi Driver. And I couldn't find the one that fit. So I knew then, and I knew before I even started this, if I try to record it and edit it later, I will spend my entire days and days editing the video. This is me. This is me shooting from the hip. This is me being live. If it works, great. If I fumble a word, it happens. If something goes wrong, it's fine. Like, it's not the end of the world. I just can't sit here and edit for days because I will nitpick the stupidest things that no one will ever notice but me. It'd probably get to the point where I'd stop cosplaying. Like, it really would. I would take that much time that I would just stop cosplaying. I would be focused on making these perfect videos. And yeah, it's not worth that. It's not worth that. When it comes to me doing this solo, that is a question I've been asked a couple times. Like, why do you do it solo? Why don't you have a co-host? Like, unfiltered, uncut, unrated. Yeah, kinda. I try not to curse, so I don't know if it'd be unrated, but I'll take it. Myers Scrub Cosplay. Yep, very true. You know, why solo? This goes back to me being an only child. This, I can totally tell you that's why. Never really having to compromise, you know, kind of just being like, I'm going to go do this and I'm going to do it. I don't like being a part of teams. I know that's crazy for some people who might know me. But I don't. I'll never be on a sports team. I used to play baseball when I was a kid, and it was one of the most frustrating things I've ever had to deal with. I wanted to practice when I wanted to practice. I want to do certain things that I thought would help. When people don't want to, I just am like, no, I want to do this, so I'm going to do it. And I feel like if I had a co-host, I would probably be stopping the show within a few months because I know we'd have to go back and forth when it came to topics and stuff like that. I would love someone to bounce stuff off of. That's why I have guests every once in a while. But I know if I tried to have this podcast be an equal, I couldn't do it. And that's just my DNA. That's just who I am. I try and take over, not a team player. I know, crazy, right? I'm very one-man band. Like, it's just the way I am. I want to talk about, excuse me, I want to talk about things that I want to talk about. I want to talk about, I want to talk about the new 52. I want to talk about Kiss. I want to talk about the top 10 DC movies. That's the things I want to talk about. And I don't want to come in here and have this idea and someone say, no, I want to talk about something else, because I'm going to go, no, I want to talk about this. So it's probably always going to be a solo act. Like I said, we will have more guests on 100%. We've already shot one that's going to be going up in the next little while. I am going on a vacation in the month of April, so there will be 2 shows that will be pre-recorded. They won't be live. Same style, but no news. But yeah, we're definitely going to try and have one guest a month from now on. I enjoy yakking with people about their nerdiness and my nerdiness and all that fun stuff. So we'll definitely be talking about that. Why did I choose this? Why did I choose nerddom? This is something that I think I kind of gone back and forth with. This kind of show where it's vague is very hard for an algorithm, or it's hard to say what this show is. And I know that can be a problem. It would be a much easier podcast when it came to getting viewers and when it came to kind of making sure people know what's going to be coming up, if it was a cosplay podcast, or if this was a comic book podcast or something like that. The problem is, though, when I started thinking of the podcast, I couldn't think of 52 weeks of topics of one thing that hadn't been done to death in other podcasts. I researched comic book podcasts, I'd researched movie podcasts, and it just felt like all those topics had been done and they were on episode 400. And I'm like, I don't know how I can do it differently. And I feel like I would be trying to push a boulder up a hill trying to do that. So I decided to do this because, like I said, I have so many interests. Like, it would be hard to come on here and just do, okay, I'm going to talk about movies, because not all my friends are movie fans. I don't want to just do a wrestling show because not all my friends are wrestling fans. Same with comics and cosplay. Like, I have friends that know me as cosplayer, but I also like other things, and I want them to be included in. And if they're fans of it and I don't know that, they could be a part of it. So I want to definitely have this podcast be, yeah, it's generic, and yeah, it can be kind of all over the place when it comes to topics, but I kind of like that. And I kind of like that some nights it'll be, a Kiss episode or a Metallic episode, and then greatest DC movies or Marvel movies or something like that the next week. So that's why. Too many interests to narrow it down to one topic. Let's talk about tech, because this is something I run into a lot, because obviously I want to make this show as good as I can. And there's things I want to improve. And I've Googled and talked to people about different tech pieces to make this thing better. And they always seem stupid expensive. And I feel like people who want to do something like this, they watch these videos and they're like, this is way too much. I can't afford to drop hundreds upon hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on this stuff. So I want to kind of break down my layout here and show you guys that it's not as hard as you might think. It's not a giant undertaking to do something like this. Let's start out with monitors. So I'm running on a over decade old MacBook Pro. I also have another MacBook underneath that's from even older. Any computer will do. It doesn't have to be a MacBook. It's just I have a MacBook, so that's what I'm using. I have 2 extra monitors. I have the screen here that has all the live stream stuff with the chat. I've got 2 monitors. I've got one that has the show running right now. It's a couple second delay. This is so I can just make sure everything's working from your end. And this monitor just has my notes on the show. That is it. I could easily crush this all into one. I just had 2 extra monitors that people have given me, so I'm using them. But you can easily crush that down to just whatever computer you're using. Camera. It's a circle webcam with a light on it that I don't even have on. That's all it is. It's a circle HDMI webcam. I think I paid $60 for it a couple years ago. It's not a big high def camera. You're probably wondering why, if it's an HDMI 1080 camera, why the stream looks like it does. That's because the Talk Studio app that I use that broadcast the show, I'm only paying for the 720 subscription. I can't upgrade it to 1080. It's going to be an extra fee. It might be something I'm doing in the future, because as this is okay, I'd like to bump it up. So I might bump it up for a couple months just to see if it's necessary. Lighting, I have one ring light in front of me. For side lights, I have let's see if you can see it. You can kind of see it on my shirt. I have a blue light here. I have a blue light here. And I have that green tape light that's back there. That on air sign is from my wife. That's from Christmas. But that's all the light I have. Blue ring light. That's it. These 2 were from Mr. Dave Thorne. He used to have a podcast. He's now starting to get back up again soon. But he gifted me those. So those are what they are. Ring light, couple bucks on Amazon, probably $30 for a good size one. You don't need the giant one. I have a small one that works okay. I have a bigger one because I got it for Christmas. So it's a little bigger, but it's not the big giant one. So that's an easy buy. It's not too much. Your biggest price is going to be microphone. This is a Maono, Maono microphone with pop filter and arm. This, again, I don't know exactly how much this is, because this is, again, from David Thorne. He gifted this when he stopped his podcast. But yeah, that's probably the most you're going to spend. And then a mixer. And it's a little tiny Focusrite mixer. It's about $100. It's probably going to be about the same price as the microphone. You can do all the mixing on your computer, though, if you want to do it that way. But it's free, so I took it and used it. So that's it. It's not a giant, stupid $1,000 setup like these big floodlights and big giant Sony cameras. No, you can do it cheap. And if I start to get extra money, I will gladly pick up some other things. But folks, if you want to do this, it doesn't have to break the bank. It's only a couple bucks. The service I'm using for Talk Studio is, I believe, $10 US a month to do the stream and send it out. It's all really budgetable if you really want to put some time into it. So that's how much I'm doing. That's how I'm doing all this. So I want to make that clear that it's not a giant pain in the butt to do something like this. Highlights. Let's talk about some of the best parts about this. Honestly, some of the best parts about this is you guys. Like, knowing there are people who want to spend an hour a night watching me do this. That means a lot. And I know that a bunch of them are friends and family who know me personally. A lot of them aren't strangers, and that's perfectly fine. I have no problem with that. I think a lot of people that I've talked to wonder, are you making money yet? Do you have like thousands of followers? No, I don't. And that's okay. I'm doing this because I like it. I like doing these shows. I like coming on here once a week. And if a few of you show up every week, that's great. And if you don't, I understand. We all have lives. I remember when I first started watching Geeks & Co., I watched it religiously, but now life happens and things change. It's perfectly fine. I just love doing this show. And that is the biggest highlight, is that even one person wants to watch this show. And I still have people that will stop me, and I'll see them at a family thing and they'll say, "Oh, I saw your show last week." And I'm like, "I didn't even know you're watching. I had no idea you were there. And they said, oh yeah, I love supporting you. I love watching it. I've got nephews that watch it every once in a while because they like seeing their uncle up here. Honestly, that is the biggest highlight. Getting feedback from people also is big. Like people saying, this is something you maybe should change. I didn't like this. Maybe you should work on this. That helps so much, getting some feedback from you guys, because this all looks great to me. And when I watch it back, I think it's great. But if you guys all say, hey, I don't like this part of the show, or I'd like to change this, or I think this would be better, that's great. Like, it honestly means a bunch that you would even take the time to tell me stuff like that. You could just watch the show and go, let them fail. But getting the feedback, that really does help. And the guests are always a blast. The point that anyone would be on this show, it's crazy to me that I've had cosplayers ask me, like, am I gonna be on the show? Am I going to be on the show? And it's like, dude, I didn't know you watched. He's like, oh yeah, I'll watch and I want to be a part of it. That means a ton. That really means a lot to me. And I'm going to definitely have some more guests in the next couple months. Lowlights. Let's talk about lowlights. Let's talk about things that you may not have noticed. You may have, I don't know. Things that have gone wrong over the past year. Internet issues has been a bloody fun time. Spoilers, we have better internet now. As of this show, we have upgraded our internet, so shouldn't have any issues. When we were starting off, my router and modem and everything is like literally the diagonal opposite of the house. So I am one of the furthest points in the house away from it. So there was always going to be a little bit of interference and a little bit of issues. I think it was around the 6-month mark, I ended up getting an extender, which is right outside this door, which bounces a strong signal into this room. So the connection is a lot better than what it was. Excuse me. Cough is still here. Alex, thank you so much. Thank you so much. We have stuff to talk about, Alex. I need to ask you about Empire Strips Back. I need your thoughts on it. The other low light, and it's not really a low light, but it's something I didn't consider, was how much time this takes up. Like, I really thought, we'll get into the fails of this, will kind of bounce into that area of, I honestly just thought, I really thought that it was, I thought it was going to be just me showing up on Mondays and just talking. Like, for some weird reason, I didn't think there'd be prep needed, but there's prep needed. Like, if I could show you this show is just talking about all about the podcast. I've got lines of notes, and they're not big, long notes. Or maybe like 2 or 3 words. But I never thought it would be that much prep. I thought I could just go up and improv the whole thing. And you can tell early on, I'm improving a lot. So that was definitely one of the lowlights. Is I really thought it'd take less time, but it doesn't. And that's okay. That's perfectly fine. I just needed to adjust to it and make it work a little better. Another one, coming up with ideas. As I said earlier, this is kind of a vague topic of nerddom and geekdom, but it's still hard to come up with 52 topics in a year of what are people going to care about? What are things that are going to, make people want to watch? There's definitely been a couple points where I'm sitting here going, I don't know what the heck I'm doing next week. But then once I really sit down and break down a topic, I can kind of go, okay, this is an episode, this is an episode, this is an episode, this is an episode. And honestly, right now we're on episode 45, I think. I've got about 30 more episodes banked, just names, not details. But I've got about 30 banked episodes that I've got planned for the next couple weeks, months. So it's just going to take some time. And I know that now. I know that there will be some points where I'm not going to have any ideas, and then I'm just going to get a bunch. So that was definitely a low light when I started, because I honestly thought I was going to run out of ideas in weeks. But hey, we're still going. Let's jump to fails, and then we're gonna talk about the changes for 2024 season 2, and then I'll let you guys get out of here. Fails. Let's talk about some fails. So you may have noticed, if you've been watching forever, episode 2. The audio is absolute dog crap in that episode, to the point where I might actually redo it in the future. I didn't know this, but this microphone, it's a full 360 microphone, but the input part is only in one section. And I didn't know that. So I actually had the microphone spun backwards the second episode. So my voice is bouncing off the monitor into the microphone. So that was and I learned that that night. Dave actually messaged me and said, by the way, your microphone's backwards. If I can see the logo on it, it's facing the wrong way. You learn these things. So that was definitely a fail that I've not done again, I hope, knock on wood. The first episode is another fail. That is, I had no notes. And as I said, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 14. I've got at least 60 lines of notes for this episode. The first one, I had 5 lines. So again, I jumped into that going, I'm just going to improv this whole show. And it was the wrong thing to do, because I realized very quickly I didn't have an hour worth of topic. I knew I'd be bored. I knew I was running on fumes within 20 minutes. But you learn. That's how you learn things like this. Now I have very good notes that I can keep referencing. Anytime you see me look to the right, I'm checking my notes to make sure I haven't missed anything. Bad internet, as we talked about, that was definitely a fail. Trying to figure out, my wife actually sent me the internet bill because she gets all that stuff, and she showed me the uptick in power that I use when the show is going on, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights, camera, microphone, laptops, monitors, all run at the same time. So there definitely is a spike. So I can just imagine the internet that I'm using to do this. And we didn't, when we got the internet originally for this house, we were just, gaming and streaming. We didn't think of that I'd be doing stuff like this. So now, as I said, we have better internet. It is upgraded. So there shouldn't be any fluttering like there used to be, as long as I make sure that I am stuck on the Wi-Fi for the extender, because I have all of them on my laptop, because I do bring my laptop downstairs. So I need to, every time a show starts, I need to make sure that the right internet's on. One of the things I really thought would be a good topic is trying to do topical topics, trying to do things that are happening in the moment, talking about things like, the episode that really started this was the AEW versus WWE mid half year review. I really thought that would be a topic that would do well. People thinking that it would be, interesting. Hey, David, you're never late. Don't worry. It's no biggie. You got stuff to do. It happens. I really thought that would work. It's one of my worst shows. I think it's only got 13 views. And I realized later is that it doesn't really work after 1 week. Like, everything changes within a week, within a month, that doing a news topic like that doesn't really work in the long term. So that type of episode is definitely not going to be happening anymore. We're probably going to talk about it during the news segment at the beginning, but not going to be doing a whole episode, about where I think the state of wrestling is or something like that, because that changes every 5 minutes. So another fail that made me realize, things have to change and things have to modify. As you might remember, there are segments of the show that I no longer do. When I first started, I really wanted to do a sort of in memoriam part of the show. There's a Kevin Smith used to have, still kind of has a podcast with his buddy Ralph Garman called Hollywood Babylon that I'm a giant fan of. And they do a segment in the show where they talk about celebrities that have passed away. And I kind of want to do something similar because I always thought that'd be a really good, I'm an entertainment fan. Let's talk about these people who have passed away. But a few episodes in, I realized it sort of took a turn and it just became sort of a downer moment of the show. So I took that out I took that out pretty fast. My wife also made a comment. She's like, it seems like you're really high energy and then that happens and you're kind of like, eh. If someone important in the industry, like a Stan Lee or something, were to pass away, I would definitely be talking about it during the news, but I felt like having that segment and trying to find someone some weeks, it didn't work. So that segment is no longer part of the show. And lastly was the songs, I think it was earlier this year, late last year. I try to do a weekly song that you guys can go into a playlist and listen to because I'm a giant music fan and I like really weird stuff that most people don't listen to. It wasn't really working. I was trying to think of all these odd songs that I was trying to find things that I like, that I thought you guys would like, that I'm just like, dude, you're taking way too much time to think of something that probably 1 to 2 people are going to listen to. So I pulled that segment. So no more songs, no more celebrities, but this thing's an animal. It's going to evolve over time. It's going to evolve over the decades. Maybe I'll do this for a decade. But yeah, that's what happens with anything. And with that comes the changes for 2024 season 2. Now, what is the biggest change of the show? We are going to be changing the time. We're not going to be changing the date. It's still going to be Mondays, but we're going to do a trial for a few months and we're going to try 8 o'clock instead. I've gotten some feedback from some people about how 7 o'clock is sort of going to the gym time, taking care of family time. It's sort of the time when everyone's doing things and sort of getting ready for bed and getting ready to relax. So starting next week and up, we're going to do this for at least 2 months. We're going to be starting at 8 o'clock. We're going to go from 8 until 9. And that's what we're going to try. We're going to give it a shot. And if it works and people love it, great. I don't mind doing it from 8 to 9 instead. It gives me more time to prep. It gives me more time to spend some time with my wife before I jump up here. So starting next week, 8 o'clock, not 7. Quality-wise, I am probably going to be updating the streaming platform to HDMI. Again, I'm going to probably do this temporarily just to see if it really bugs me as much as I think it does. I would love to do it. It's almost double the price to jump to HDMI, but I kind of want to because on the screen in front of me, I see what it looks like in HDMI. I'd like that to be the actual show. I can see it's a little pixelated at 720. So that is probably going to be an upgrade that's going to happen in the next little while. Again, that's I don't know an exact date for that, but that's going to be coming in the future. Better internet. We talked about that. Definitely have better internet now, so we shouldn't have any stuttering issues or anything like that going into season 2. Guests. We will have guests once a month. I've got one for March. I've got one for this week was actually going to be a guest. I was contemplating talking to somebody, but because we had to bump last week's episode, I said, screw it. We're just going to bump it. We'll have to do another thing, but I've got one guest in the can. I will be doing that show later this week. We're going to tape it. And then, as I said earlier, I'm going on vacation for 2 months or 2 months. I wish. I'm going on vacation for 2 weeks in April, so I will not be doing any live show, obviously. But though one of those shows will be a guest show that will be pre-taped, and I will just debut it as if it were live. Platform wise, I'm enjoying this being on YouTube and on Facebook. I'm going to try to see if I can get this on Twitch as well. If not, I don't know. I want to do Twitch, but I don't know if I have the capabilities, the bandwidth, or whatever to stream both simultaneously. This platform has a way to do it. I just don't know what it is. So I'm going to try and figure that out. And if I have to pull Facebook, I might have to pull Facebook, and we might just have to do YouTube and Twitch, because I think Twitch is a good platform to be doing stuff like that. Where am I going? I am going to Italy. I'm going to Italy for 2 weeks. So I will be way far away and not have good enough internet to do it. So yeah, hopefully in the next, the Twitch thing might be mid-year. We might start doing that in the summer. But yeah, I really want to get Twitch up and running. Lastly, I think, yeah, this is the last one. Concert reviews. I'm going to a couple concerts this year, so there will definitely be a couple episodes similar to the convention review episodes that will be about the concerts. For cons this year, I'm doing Toronto Comic Con next month. We will definitely be doing Niagara Falls. We're going to be doing Fan Expo. We're going to be doing Hamilton. We're going to do Frightmare. We're going to do London. We're going to do Nickel City. We're going to have a lot of con reviews this year. And we're also going to be doing a couple concert reviews because I'm going to some shows. Make sure to note all Geek Culture in Italy to talk to us about when you get back. Oh, I will. I'll be talking all about, we're going to talk all about the geek culture of Italy. That will be an episode. We'll be talking about my trip, tape segments in Italy. If I have time, I will gladly do it. I know the internet is terrible where I'm going, so it will all be pre-recorded. But Steel City got Booker. Ooh, yay! I can only do Erst. Yeah, Steel City could be good. I could have fun with that. Oh yes, and also doing Anime North. Don't care about review, but going to it. Yes, I am going to Anime North. How did I forget Anime North? I will be at Anime North this year, as always. But yeah, those are the updates. So next week we're going to be going on at 8, from 8 to 9. Possibly have HDMI, not 720 anymore. We got better internet. We're going to have guests once a month. I'm going to try and get Twitch up and running in the next couple months. So we can watch. So anybody that's a Twitch streamer or wants to watch on that platform, they can. And concert reviews will be coming up as well this year. Folks, sincerely, thank you for being a part of this for over a year. Like I said, the point that anyone wants to take their time and watch me be a putz on the internet just makes me like, why? You guys need better lives. But seriously, like, thank you so much for a year. I hope you guys enjoy the next year. I just want to do a better show. I want to make it better every single week. It really means the world to me that you guys would take the time and watch. And yeah. All right, I'm going to stop blabbing. Next week, I got a couple ideas for episodes. I kind of have to move some things around a bit because we got bumped around because I was sick. Thank you, Tara. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you. And thank you, David. I'm going to do some more cosplay stuff in the next few months for sure. We're definitely going to be talking about I'm going to talk about 3D printing in one episode because I've started to do that, and I kind of want to do, I don't know, I want to do a beginner's podcast episode about 3D printing and certain cosplay techniques, because I feel like when you get so deep into some of these creativity things, you forget what it was like to be a beginner. Like, I remember going to many cosplay panels and they're just like, I'm using this crazy stitching that only 4 people in the world ever use. And I'm like, then why are you talking about it? Like, it's great that you can use it, but you're not helping anybody that wants to do this stuff. So I think, yeah, I'm going to be doing a 3D printing. We're probably going to do more foam stuff because that's my life when it comes to cosplay. But yeah, I've definitely got a bunch of good episodes coming up. I can't wait to show you the one that I'm going to do when I'm away. It's going to be a really fun episode. I wish we could have done it live, but I think it's still going to work taped. If you haven't already, please, 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 please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It means the world to me that you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that share button, because it shows me that you guys like these things. It shows me that you're engaged. It shows me you love this channel, and it means so much to me. I've said it 1,000 times. David, I can't believe you want to talk. David, you're a cosplayer. I want to talk to every cosplayer. I want to talk to everybody that cosplays, because everybody that cosplays has something that I don't know about cosplay. That's okay. Quick thing before we go. I've seen so many people wish they had the, let's call it the Beyonce social media account, where everyone follows you, but you don't follow anybody. I never understood that. I will follow anybody that cosplays. I don't care if you cosplay for 1 day. I don't care if you cosplay for 10 days, 10 years. I don't care. I have so many people that I follow on social media that are cosplayers, because I want to learn more. And the way I learn more is by seeing what you guys do. So keep cosplaying, keep sending stuff on social media. I want to stay in touch. I want to see what you guys do, because you guys inspire me, just like I hope I give you something to do too. Alex, please do Cobra Commander. I want to see your Cobra Commander. I want to see how the hell you do that face shield and actually be able to see, because I still have no idea how anyone does that without walking into walls. I'm going to let you guys get out of here. It is 8 o'clock. Next week, this is when we're going to start. Next week, 8 o'clock, Monday Night Nerd. We're going to kick off season 2. Have a great night, folks. I love you all. It means the world to me that you're here. I'll see you next week. Have a great week. I promise I won't get sick during the week. I'll see you guys soon. Love you all. See you soon. Hey, thanks for watching Monday Night Nerd. If you enjoyed this content, please hit the subscribe button, like this content, and follow on social media for even more nerdy fun. See you soon.